welcome back to the Andujo Boxing Review. Popeye here, and today I have Christoph. We're going to be doing a boxing review on Ryan Garcia and the Campbell fight coming up. It's not finalized yet, but most likely that's what's going to happen. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the Andujo Boxing Review. You can also follow me on Popeye Boxing 1 on Instagram. And Mr. Christoph, what's your Instagram?
Christoph Luke on Instagram.
Okay, so what you think of this match, Ryan Garcia and Campbell?
So from what we've talked about, it seems like he's getting a good fight. So you said that he lost to Campbell, lost to Lomachenko.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough fight.
Well, I'll tell you, this fight's very interesting. I mean, there's a lot kind of going on with this because there's also been a lot of issues between, promoter Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions, and Ryan Garcia, in the fact that, hats off to Ryan Garcia. He really wants the big fights. He says he's ready. Behind that, obviously, he wants the big paydays. He sees Canelo getting those big old paychecks. He wants a piece of that pie. So as a fighter mentality, he wants those big fights. And he's pushing it. He's threatening to, cut his contract with Golden Boy because he's not getting the fights. So now, from a business perspective, Golden Boy Promotions, they want to protect the next Golden Goose. You figure, if they get him some fights that should be winnable as Canelo's going down, declining, and retiring, and they're still building up Ryan Garcia. So that's how Golden Boy Promotions is thinking, business-wise. They don't want to give him the risky fights right now, because of the fact that if he loses, it's not going to help Ryan Garcia's career, and it's not going to help Golden Boy's promotions. Because the way they're looking at it is that's the next superstar. So what makes this fight very interesting, Christoph, is the fact that Ryan Campbell, I don't see that as no palooka. Obviously, it's one of the bigger stepping stones for Ryan Garcia. If we kind of look at some of their opponents, for example, these were Ryan Garcia's biggest opponents. Okay, Fonseca, that at the time was 25 wins and 1 loss. Prior to that, he also fought Duno, which was a quick knockout. I believe it was in the first round, if I remember correctly. And he was at the time 21-0. So those were his best opponents in his whole resume. And I mean, even though Duno was undefeated, and that was one of his bigger tests. I mean, Duno's really, I haven't really heard of Duno after that fight, type of thing, And I didn't hear much about Duno even before that fight. So, undefeated records, 21-0, 30-0, don't mean anything if those 31 or 20 opponents were nobodies.
True.
But my point is the fact that he still hasn't really fought, quality fighters. Now, on the other hand, Campbell, as an amateur, he accomplished a lot as well. He's from New England, Great Britain, and he actually won a gold medal in 2012 as an amateur.
Wow.
So he has that amateur pedigree. Also, as a professional boxer, he holds a record of 20 wins and 3 losses. But 2 of those losses, as you mentioned before, was against Lomachenko. And it was a close, I believe it was a split decision. He also has a loss against Linares. And that was when Linares was more in his prime. So, the Linares fight could have gone either or, but they gave it to the more popular one at the time. That was the Ring Magazine champion, which was Linares. So, that said, this is a risky fight for Ryan Garcia. But then again, it's an opponent that he should be able to beat and take him that step further for Golden Boy to be able to get him those bigger fights. So, I'm kind of excited for this bout because at least Ryan now is getting a real opponent. Ryan Campbell is coming back to really prove, hey, you know what, I really belong in the spotlight. So both said big goals, right? Ryan Garcia, that wants to prove, his manager and Golden Boy Promotions that he's ready for the spotlight and he's ready to take all those big fights. Then you got Campbell that has those 2 close decisions that have probably been bugging him for a long time, I could imagine, right, as a fighter.
Yeah.
And now he's coming back to prove something. So you got 2 guys, and they're gonna clash. So when we kind of put all this together, what do you see in the future with this fight?
Well, props to Ryan Garcia for wanting the bigger fights. I mean, being a hungry, real fighter, that's props to him. I really hope it works out for him since he wants the bigger fights and he's very hungry. I hope that he's able to beat Campbell. So, but it seems like both guys are. This is going to be really good because both are hungry. So you're getting a real fight.
Yes.
So props to him and hope everything works out and he does what he wants to accomplish. So how do you feel about what he wants to do, what Ryan Garcia wants to do versus Golden Boy? Like, how do you feel about that? Do you let a hungry young fighter go for the gold and take the big fights, or do you keep him back and what do you do?
Well, I mean, I see both sides, and you have a 50-50, you know, kind of when you hear out there in social media, at the press, you know, some are on the side of Ryan Garcia because, you know, he's a fighter, he's hungry, and he just wants to, you know, go for it, right? But then again, you know, when you know a thing or two about business, you also got to see the business portion of it because, you know, Golden Boy has already invested so much time, or money, I should say, and time with Ryan Garcia in building him up to where he is now. So I really believe that Golden Boy does a great job with their fighters, promoting them, building them up. I mean, look at Canelo. You know, Canelo lost to Floyd Mayweather in a lopsided 12-round fight. Granted, Canelo was only 23 years old at the time. Mayweather had a bunch of, you know, experience. However, Canelo had the, you know, size advantage over, you know, Floyd Mayweather. But with all that said, Golden Boy did a good job in where Canelo is now. So, you know, me personally, I would lean more into what Golden Boy is doing because I think they're doing the right thing for his best interest. If you had a promotion company that didn't know what the heck they were doing, and they just rush their fighters because they think, oh yes, you know, I see dollar signs. Well, guess what? You need to invest in the fighter long term and make the best of it for, you know, for your fighter and for the company. So I think Golden Boy is doing both, looking for his best interest because if he loses, even loses this fight, that's going to hold him back a little more than, you know, Canelo losing to Floyd Mayweather. There's a difference. You lost to Floyd Mayweather, and after that, Floyd Mayweather retires and Canelo continues, but he didn't even skip a beat. He continued to get popular after the fight, right?
He did.
But if Ryan, with all this trash talking he's doing about, you know, not wanting to be with Golden Boy because he doesn't get the big fights, now he loses this fight, doesn't back up everything he's been talking, that's going to put his career back a lot. And then if he's at the same fighter again going forward, then guess what? Not only his own plans, but Golden Boy's plans now are going to be down the drain.
True.
Golden Boy has more cushion though. Remember, they got Virgil Ortiz, in which Virgil Ortiz is a beast. To me personally, I think Virgil Ortiz is going to go even further than Ryan Garcia. He's a guy, a humble guy that is not talking trash, is not threatening, you know, his managers or promoters in regards to contracts. He goes in the ring, he trusts his promoters, he trusts his manager, and he takes care of business every fight by KO. Does he want to fight the best? Yes. And also, you know, he's not pressuring his promoters to do it. He's allowing them to also do their jobs. So that's kind of the difference there between certain fighters, you know. But like I said, hats off to Ryan Garcia. At least he wants to fight the best fighters out there. Some fighters don't even want to do that.
True.
You know, so give or take, man. You know, I guess everyone can see it a different way, right? How do you see it? Golden Boy side, Ryan Garcia side?
Well, I feel like threatening and the trash talking, personally, you know, it's just maybe not the right way to go about it. I like what you said about Ortiz being humble and just, you know, just going out there knocking people out seems like a better way to talk.
Right.
You know, like you're just going to get more done that way.
In other words, you know, perform and let that be your talking. You got that point. Right on point. Exactly.
So that just seems like a better way to go about it. So, I mean, I definitely see what you're saying about it. That would really set him back.
You know, with that, you put the puzzle together, actually. Because even though I lean over to Oscar De La Hoya Promotions and what they're doing with his career to try to get him to where he needs to be. And then Ryan Garcia, on the other hand, trying to make the best out of his own career.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, do it the right way, which is action in the ring, not mouth talking. So, but to wrap all this up, all said and done, Ryan Garcia against Luke Campbell. There was a press conference today in which the fight is not completely signed off, but most likely it is going to happen. We don't know what date it's going to be, but I'm excited to see it. I really want to see Ryan Garcia possibly, pull up that win that he needs, and also would like to see if Campbell puts the upset. Either or, it's such a competitive fight, and I'm just so eager to see how Ryan Garcia is going to respond to an elite fighter like Campbell, because Campbell has angles. He has good defense, good offense, as I mentioned, gold medalist. He has like the perfect formula to put the upset. So I see this fight 50-50.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Nothing better than two people, and it really gives something to it when you have something on the line. So this is going to put your money put the money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it again. I mean,
short,
yeah. It's just going to be an exciting fight. I really feel like, two fighters that got to prove something. So we're going to make another video with the outcome of this, and also updating with a certain date of, the fight. So they're just finalizing the last couple of steps on the contract, but most likely that's what's going to happen. The only reason this fight will not happen is if Ryan Garcia will price himself out once again. He was supposed to fight about 4 weeks ago, and then the same thing happened in which he pulled out of the fight because he was pricing himself out. With this whole COVID-19 issue, like right now the promoters cannot afford to be paying huge money.
No,
and
there's
fighters are not understanding this right now, and I get it. They want to get paid. They're still fighting, but there's no audience. There's not that many ticket sales. So if you really think about it, there ain't that much money in the pot to be able to give big bonus pays, right?
Exactly.
So who stepped up, as we were talking? Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah, that's a real fighter,
Yep.
Like real fighter. Like now is not the time to ask for more money. There's no concession stands. There's no ticket sales. They still got to pay everybody. They still got to pay the government to show up. They still got the commission and whatnot. There's a lot that they have to pay for, and
Not to mention all the testing.
all the testing.
All the stuff they gotta do, like when you're looking at the weigh-ins and whatnot, like the mask, like everyone has to be distant, like it's just so chaotic right now.
Yeah.
So with all that said, that's the only way this fight's not gonna happen, and I'm kind of assuming that's probably what's going on. Or Ryan's probably asking for money, that's why they haven't signed the contract.
Yeah.
It's interesting also if the fight doesn't happen because he's asking for too much money. Who's going to step up to the plate again? Hopefully it's Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah.
I really like to see the guy fight. Like, all action, no talking. Bottom line. Okay, well, this wraps up this review in regards to the Campbell fight and Ryan Garcia. Hopefully it does happen. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.